Hi guys, and welcome to another 5-Minute Friday. As we don't have any time, I suggest we jump straight into the questions from last week. So the first question is from Rishabh Jain. What is your view on Akka system, Akka, comparison of Akka microservices with Spring Boot microservices? Now, a disclaimer, I only built a toy project with Akka, so I have no real life experience with it. I know the Akka system coming from Erlang. Again, I haven't built a real world project, but I know it's being used mainly in these messaging scenarios. So text messaging or chat applications. I think WhatsApp, Facebook are using them. Telecommunication system providers are using them. So if you're using these kind of, or building these kind of systems, I think Actors, Erlang, or Akka are a great choice. If you're using, or if you're building your one-on-one business CRUD application, then probably not so much. And you'd rather stick to Spring Boot. As for microservices, you put the word microservices there, which is kind of a trigger word for me. I think that microservices in general are completely overhyped, overused, especially in greenfield projects. And they just move complexity from development to operations and even multiply complexity on the operation side. But then that will be a different question that might pop up anytime soon. Right, Kevin Florence Dow says, interesting. Can you also make a video on what tech to learn if a PHP developer wants to jump over to Java web development? Right, it's a complicated question. What I guess is you want to build websites or web applications, and obviously you have old school server-side programming to go along with that. So you have a framework like Spring Web MVC, or any of the other 50 Java web frameworks where you render HTML to the front end, or you just build REST services and have your JavaScript front end, Vue.js, React, or whatever, Angular consume your REST services. I think for both cases, it's a good idea to start with, let's say, the Spring framework. You could also start with J2EE, but I've been a bit more involved in Spring projects over the past decade, basically. And what I think, though, is that the main problem you're going to have coming from PHP to Spring, it's not so much about understanding the concept, what is a model view controller and the Spring framework. I think the bigger problem is the ecosystem. So starting from the tooling, what IDE do you use? What build system do you use? How does dependency management work? All that kind of stuff coming together. And to be honest, I don't know of a good source where you have a tutorial and they tell you you're a PHP guy, you're coming from a framework like Laravel, for example, and now you're moving to Spring, and that's exactly what you want to do. I might publish actually a video on that, or rather a series of videos on that. But get accustomed, try to find something about the ecosystem, and then try to get into, I think Spring is a good start. Dependency injection, build your way up, and hopefully you work with databases before, PHP plus databases, MySQL. So SQL and databases are a skill you can just use with Spring as well. Right, we have 4 minutes, 1 minute left. That must be a quickie. Your views on GraalVM and Quarkus. So, Salman, the first thing is that Quarkus is a funny name for Germans because it has the word Quark inside, which is something you eat, funny stuff to eat. But on the more serious side, the thing is, again, as would be the case with many other developers claiming they have experience with it, I don't have any real-life experience with Quarkus, with GraalVM in real life, real-world projects, apart from tutorials. And for me, the question is always, what problems does it solve? Does it help me build business requirements better, faster, and whatever than other frameworks do? And I have a presentation of Quarkus here open in YouTube. It says libraries, you already know, because Quarkus bundles all these libraries together. I can see Hibernate, I see Camel, so libraries. that people have been using for decades but don't properly know how to use, to be honest. I see libraries like Kafka that people want to use, even though they have no clue why they would want to use it. So all bundled together, that's again a bit more my sharp tongue. But if I continue, I see it's container first, saying small size on disk, instant scale up, which is always a red flag for me because scale is such an overused word. More containers in with the same RAM, smaller container images. Yes, it's container first, but I'd like to see what problem they solve. They have me with, I think it comes sometime later, with the memory footprint, whatever the time to first request. Again, I'm not too concerned with that. I like the hot reload of code, which I could also get with something like Java Rebel in the Java universe. But again, I just like to see what is the real world business and not technological focus of the whole thing. And I fear it's just a tech. If you're selling microservices, it might be the way to go. Now I'm 1 minute late, 6 minutes 4. I guess that's it for today. If you have any more questions, post them into the comment section and you'll get them answered next week. See you next week.